a high percentage of customers today are in the subprime category. People that were previously good credit, good people with bad credit is an increasing number. Today, from Focus Incorporated, I've got Raul Vasquez. Raul, tell me about your company.
Hey, Jim, how are you doing? Yeah, so we've been a business, advertising business since 2001, and generating subprime leads about 10 years ago. But most people still know us for generating subprime leads and doing TV leads. We had a shared lead program, and now we've evolved and we do quite a bit, and we do business all over the country.
Fantastic. If I was a dealer and I was going to hire Focus Incorporated, what part of your business would I concentrate on first?
Well, I think the big thing is you got to realize, do you have a commitment to subprime? That's what we're going to do. Is you got to have the commitment, because you got to have the people in place. You got to have the lens in order to get it done. And then from there, depending on how big you are, we have a solution for all dealers, big and small. For the big dealers, we create where we build your own subprime brand. We do the creative, which is the most important advertising campaign, is the creative, and that's what stands out for us, is how good we are at great leads. And we've always.
The reason I was attracted to you as your business model is more and more dealers are breaking away from the manufacturer control and starting independent dealerships that operate very much like a franchise store. And I'm seeing more and more of that. The big guys are all doing it. You've got Group One, you've got every one of them, AutoNation, every one of the big dealer groups has started an independent brand franchise. And because right now the manufacturers have gotten overbearing. What are you able to do for the dealers as far as creating a subprime brand?
So we create a special profit center by creating we go out and incorporate it. We go out and we build a commercial with that creative, with that name. We build a Facebook page, and then we drive leads just for that brand. So what we find is that when you advertise without the manufacturer's name on it, you get a lot more to do. And that could be anybody. It's whether it's Toyota.
You said that to me this past week, that if you don't use the manufacturer's name in your advertising, you get a lot better quality and a lot more leads. Why is that?
Well, because the customer, the kind to that manufacturer, and maybe some customers don't want they want a used car, or maybe they've had an experience with a dealership that's causing them all. I mean, there's a variety of factors that make that happen, but at the end of the day, 5 to 30% increase in lead volume when you.
So you're not just selling leads. You're not just a lead provider. You are much more than that. You are total subprime consulting, is what I'm hearing.
I mean, we don't actually generate leads. We create advertising packages, and I had to go in and create tools that help process the leads quicker. Yeah, I mean, I was just last week. I was at a dealership in Jacksonville where I sat down with the talked to them about and talked about how we needed to talk to the. So I work with scripting. I looked inside their CRM and took a look at the stats to see where the problems were and what we needed to fix. So necessity, I've been more and more. I mean, we've been doing this we're going on 22 years. So I haven't been of what has to happen at a dealership in order to sell cars to subprime customers.
Well, there's got to be an incredible amount of leads, dead leads in the dealer CRM that they stopped working. They gave up on it. Let's face it, in the last 2 years, anybody could sell a new car. And you didn't have the car in stock So in other words, we didn't need the subprime business as the way that most of them adopted the thought. We have more new car customers than we have cars. Why would I want to cater to subprime? But now, this past week, today on television, I saw dealers advertising discounts. I saw dealers advertising cut rate interest. I saw dealers and manufacturers talking about the fact that they have an excess of inventory. So all of a sudden, we've normalized again. This market's back, and unfortunately, a lot of people over the last couple of years that we've sold cars for 10,000, 20,000 over, these people are going to be subprime. The average payment now is well over $700. So the subprime faction is going to grow. Is that what you're seeing?
More phone calls for people we haven't heard from in years. You know, and the dealership just last week from Cincinnati, you know, when I talked to them a year, they were selling everything they can get their hands on, and they didn't need you. To your point, they didn't, and the grosses were through the roof. Now what's happening is with the interest rates high, even though they're getting what's happening, what you're seeing is that those customers are not coming into the showroom because they don't want to make those car payments. So, but the subprime customer is always going to be there, not a customer of one. So it doesn't matter what the interest rate is. It doesn't matter. The subprime customer needs a car in order to get to work. I mean, I see lead after lead. They need a car by Friday, or they're going to lose their job, and that's what we're dealing with. Completely different type of mentality.
So it's important that you create a separate brand away from the dealership, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily separate from the dealership like it used to be when we first started, when the subprime somewhere off to the side and those customers didn't come into the showroom. That's not why we do it, because it generates more leads. And you need a specialized team to work send those leads to your regular team, your regular sales team, and expect to do anything. Keep it separate. And the nice thing about what we do, everything we do is 100% trackable. You get every dollar that you spend. We know every single lead that you get, every appointment.
So in other words, you can justify trackable. You can show the dealer exactly what ROI they got, right down to the lead that converted into a sale. Where they're using the dealer's BDC, and if they don't use the dealer's BDC, what can they do?
Well, they use our BDC.
I knew the answer.
What's that?
I knew that answer.
They also do it in conjunction. We have a dealership in Michigan that very successfully in conjunction with theirs. So we take the initial call, and then they take it over. Initial call, we do the initial texting. We try to set the initial appointment, and then they take it over from then. They do the missed appointments. So the dealerships that can do it in tandem, it's a labor-intensive process in BDC. I'd say that aside from the portion of it, the next most important part is the BDC, because that's the communication. That's the part that really has to work. And the better your BDC is, the better.
Well, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, I've got a phone number, and let me take a look. I've got a phone number on the screen. Will that go directly to you, or will that go to an employee?
No, that phone number goes directly. Will come directly through to me, and I'll be able to answer any questions the customer, the dealership may have with the website. I mean, you go to subprimetime.com, and you'll see all the information there, and then you can fill out the form and get it over to me, and I'll follow right back up with you and the needs that you have, and whether you can do a standalone profit center, or you need to be part of because you don't have the budgets that of a bigger store. Again, it just depends on the budget we have a solution for anybody that wants to do subprime, and that's the important takeaway there.
Fantastic. So if a dealer wants to get into the subprime business, what lenders are they going to need to use?
Well, you're obviously going to need subprime lenders, and what I find in you know, even back when I used to for World of Special Finance, is that most dealerships have the lenders. They don't have the lenders. You know, you got your credit acceptance, your Westlakes, your CPSs back in the parts of the country where they're at. You got a lot of regional credit unions and local credit unions that dealers work with. But most dealers, they find them and they like to send them a lot of their subprime business, and it changes. So really the most important guy for a special finance manager is that they got to know their programs inside and out. The guys that are really good at it know how to manage that process. Changes happen in their finance companies. But like I said, most dealers have those lenders so that's usually not the issue.
So anyway, I just looked at Asperian. Excuse me, I'm lying to you. I actually went to Lending Tree. Lending Tree on lendingtree.com has got every statistic in the auto lending arena, and it starts out with the average car payment went over $700 in the third quarter of 2022. That is a record average car payment, well over 700. So the general deduction that people are getting is we're going to be creating a lot more credit challenged individuals that were previously good credit. They were previously in the mid sixes or even in the low sevens, and all of a sudden they're going to be in the low sixes or high fives, and everything changed all of a sudden. But it was their situation that changed. It really wasn't their personal habits.
No, yes, I mean you see a lot of that, and you're going to see a lot more happening. To your point, you're going to see a lot more repossessions now that everybody bought cars at their height. So now you got to see more people upside down on their credit. So yeah, but the reality is that dealers are having a tough time that fit the profile of a subprime customer. That's really been is having the vehicles available, and that's what's preventing dealers from maxing their grosses. But
they don't have inventory that is conducive to a subprime lender. I've known this. I've preached it for 30 years, but dealers still don't understand that it's an inventory situation. Having the right cars on the ground available right now in the right. What is the sweet spot right now for a subprime customer, domestic or middle line import store?
Well, I mean, I think the top end is $20,000. I mean, if you get above $20,000, you really have a tough time. But really, you really want to be in. You still dollar range. But we're seeing dealers are finding more and more of those vehicles a bit expensive, more expensive than they really want them to be. So the grosses aren't there. It's not even that they're expensive. What's happening is prices are still declining. They're not really going to be able to maximize their grosses until the price drops bottom out. However, you still have an opportunity on grosses, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be a bigger gross than you're going to see anywhere else in your sales. The takeaway is that.
Do you know Wendy? Do you know Wendy Reeves?
Absolutely.
Do you know Wendy Reeves?
Wendy, we've worked together a long time. She's worked together with our BDC. She's helped. Mm-hmm. We've had plenty of a lot of her.
She's endorsing you, and I know Wendy, and her dealership is on top of every potential profit center. You know, Wendy's been a friend of mine for forever. So it's interesting that you're doing business with Wendy, and I know Wendy as well. And I'm glad she jumped in here with a testimonial.
Yeah. Thank you, Wendy.
So yeah, are you going to be at NADA or?
I will be at an NDA. I get in on Friday. Yes, I'll be there.
Okay, so you're going to be walking around. Is there any place they can generally find you?
No, but I can if somebody wants to meet, they can call that number, and I'll set up a. I mean, we do quite a bit of work with Mitsubishi dealers. So I'll be there. We do work there. We work with Promax, so I'll be there. So there's there's a couple places where I can be, or I can meet them anywhere else on the floor.
So you work with Promax.
Yeah, we have a lot of dealers. Over the years, we've had a lot of dealers on Promax. Yeah,
I was instrumental. I was instrumental in the original programs of Promax.
Okay.
John Palmer that founded that company was a student of mine, and he worked for Mills Chevrolet in Moline, Illinois. And he and all of his managers, he was a general manager of several stores, and he and his managers would regularly attend my seminars, and they developed Promax using a lot of my material. And I mean, this is something John would tell you. Of course, that's evolved over the last 30 plus years. But yeah, I've been knowing the Promax people for many years.
Yeah, they're good. They're good people, and they do a good job. And what's funny is even when a dealer is with the product and they try to go somewhere else, it doesn't do, the other products don't do what they need. It doesn't facilitate a subprime customer the way John built, and they end up going back. And you see a lot of people go to these big fancy CRMs, and they says he's got a niche that, or you know, he built a niche no one else really pays attention to, and he did a great job of it, and he kept his focus for pretty much, you know, if you've got a Promax dealer on your program, they do a lot of subprime in there.
If you got a Promax dealer, there's a lot of subprime because it'll roll back and select the car for the customer before you have even analyzed the customer. Promax, yeah, absolutely good program.
No, and I was going to say, and they do a good job analyzing the lenders as well. The lenders, the other part of the product that makes a lot of sense.
So right now we're talking to Raul Vasquez with Focus Incorporated, specializing in advertising, generating subprime business, training employees and dealerships on the whole subprime spectrum. What else would I need to tell people about Focus? What have we not told people, Raul?
Well, I think that the one is our customer service, and I find that we're very attentive to the needs of our clients. I mean, I've got clients that call at 10, 11 o'clock at night from the West Coast, and they on from the West Coast, and I answer everything right away. So, I don't handle that I handle is mostly the customer service with our dealers. That's the making sure.
You can also help with subprime Hispanic market too. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, Hispanic is a big market. So we have opportunity there because we can do anything we can do in English, we can do in Spanish, and the regenerated lead for just about the same price in Spanish. And so we do the same thing. We build the commercial, we get the creative, we run the ads in Spanish, pages, we do the Facebook page in Spanish, and we do in English that we can't do in Spanish. And it's not just about markets where we see a lot of Spanish customers. So obviously, Miami, Los Angeles, New York, a lot of Hispanic customers, big percentage of the market. But it does generate Hispanic. We've generated Hispanic leads in Philadelphia, Jacksonville, for Hispanic. But as long as there's a pocket of Hispanics, we can generate that customer base. The biggest thing is that the dealership needs to have people there to handle that customer. But we can keep them complete. We can keep those customers separate, that we only deliver those leads specifically at the dealership.
When I was working with Prestige Ford in Dallas, we had what we called the international division. And I'm talking 1999, 2003, 2004. I'm talking about the beginning of the millennium. And the international division, mostly Hispanic customers, they had 12 employees. In Dallas, Texas, this was a huge part of the business, and that dealership was selling upwards of 1,000 units a month.
Yeah, the Hispanic customer, what dealers tell me is that they have the customers have, and they also deliver more referrals. The big thing is the referrals, because they don't need they can buy a car with ITIN numbers, and we're seeing a lot more of that at the dealership. But the big thing is they're getting a lot of referrals from the customer loyal, and they bring all their friends.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, you're getting a lot of applause from Wendy on the sidebar there. She's talking about your company, about Promax. She's talking about the subprime. It's a perfect time to be talking about it, because we're facing a subprime explosion. The numbers are dropping tremendously. I watch them. Lending Tree. I look at some of the prognosticators, and it's pretty obvious to me that the credit is going down. We're going to a recession again. In a recession, a credit challenge is going to be more important than ever. Tell me about your BDC. Tell me about the BDC. Tell me how you operate.
So what we will depending on the size of the store and how much BDC it requires, that's dedicated to that dealership, and that person becomes, so we charge based on how many hours we have to dedicate to that, and that's how we charge them. So it's always going to be less expensive than if the dealership did it themselves. They'll hire a BDC agent. They'll put them somewhere in a dealership. They'll throw them in a corner, and who's responsible for managing them is going to be the sales manager. They don't have there's certainly teams that do that have a dedicated team, that have a BDC manager. But I'm talking about your regular store that hires one or two guys and says, "Oh, let's do BDC." Puts about it. I mean, we listen to their calls. We monitor their activity and make sure that they do their job. I mean, because we're getting hired to do that, and we have a BDC for that. So we take care of those details and more effective than what most dealers can do themselves.
I'm consulting some stores right now that have 13, 14, 18 locations. I'm consulting some of the big dealerships, and most of the consulting I do today is on a Zoom broadcast, very much like what we're doing right now. And a lot of the big dealers, if I have 15, 18 dealerships, the subprime as a standalone, and city centric. If I say I had 12 dealerships in Dallas, I would have a completely independent, not affiliated with the dealership, subprime dealership. What about buy here, pay here? Is that part of what you do, or are you staying away from that?
No, we over the years have done a lot of business with Drive Time and especially JD Buyrider. Their programs are a little bit different, and actually those programs are completely different. But yeah, buy here, pay here is a big part of it. It is a different customer. But we've had plenty of buy here, pay here stores that have had success years. And again, it just comes down to personnel to the store and commitment at the store level. But yes, buy here, pay here has historically, has been a part of our business.
So you're consulting that as well?
Yeah, I mean, right now it ebbs and flows, and right now a lot of our stores are franchise stores. Because I guess a lot of it has to do with the fact that we co-own co-op. We can get when they do a program with us. We have a lot of Mitsubishi stores in the country, and about 10% of all new Mitsubishi sales in the U.S. Through one of our advertising. So we see a lot of that, but we also do a lot of business with big independent stores. It just all varies. I mean,
I'm doing business with some big independents right now that are operating as if they were a new car franchise dealership, and once again, I'm doing video training with subprime dealerships that are basically acting as if they're a new car franchise store.
Yes, some of those people are actually people that have franchised to focus just on used cars because they make so much more money. And that's a real change to what we've seen in the past.
Fantastic. You're going to be at an ADA convention, and this number will ring directly to you. Is that correct?
Correct. It'll forward to my cell phone. Yeah, I'll be able to get with the person right away. I mean, that's one thing that we make sure we do in our company is make sure that the dealer gets a call back right away. And your point earlier, I think that we're going to have a good. I know that everybody talks about the looming recession, but I also believe that it is going to be a lot bigger than what we've seen in the past. And today is the first day. Officially, today is the first day of tax season. Today's the first day that you can actually file. We're not going to see the stimulus money this year. We're not going to see in the middle of tax time, and we're seeing earned income credit now than what it's been, and also more people qualify now for earned income credit. So together, that all points to the fact that we should see a pretty good influx of subprime.
Fantastic. So how many dealers are you working with right now? If I had to say Focus Incorporated, FOCUS, how many dealership entities are you working with?
Well, I'd say the number right now is between 50 and 70, and that varies what they're whether they're on every month. So some dealers will back, so it fluctuates between that number.
Do you have employees that actually visit the dealerships, or is it all on broadcast? How are you doing business with these dealers?
We talk to either on web calls or on the phone, but I do visit stores. I mean, I do visit stores if I have to. I was just Friday, so and we're starting to see more and more of that. And during a couple of Dallas stores while I'm there, and maybe and go see some of our stores out there. But yeah, we're starting to see us go. Not really necessary, but when you go, you can't take away that interaction. At the end of the day, yeah, can you do your business without going to the store? Sure. But is it better if you do? I mean, you learn a lot more from talking to people at the store than not being there.
Fantastic. In the next couple of days, as people travel to NADA, we had a limited number of viewers today, but I tell you what, the replays on these broadcasts are absolutely into the thousands. So if you're watching this broadcast a day or 2 days after we initially did it, still call the phone number, visit the website. Everything's active. We're working right now. This is Raul Vasquez. We're talking about Focus Incorporated. They've got every facet of subprime, from advertising that generates the leads, how to work the leads, a BDC, coaching on a BDC. They've got it all. What have we not told people so far, Raul?
Well, I think to what you just give us a call and we'll. It's not that we're just going to try to sell you something. Analysis of your store, what's going on in the market. We'll tell you who's advertising, whether it's the dealership next dealership up the street, we take a pretty deep dive in who the competition is to make the determination of what we have to do to succeed. We take a look at what you do. We take a look inside your CRM, and we look for that. So we're looking for, what your positives are and what your are, and then we make a determination of what type of campaign do we need to put on to make you most successful. Because at the end of the day, I want you to succeed. It's not just the next 2 months or 3 months. I mean, we've got dealerships that have been on our 7, 8, 10 years. I mean, so our dealerships, when they stick, they stay a very long time. Because the product works, a commitment, and it's a long-term partnership.
Talking to your clients stay with you for a long time. That is impressive. You talk to people that are doing business with you, and they've been doing business with you for a while. They wouldn't even think of going somewhere else. So anyway, you're getting ready for NADA. The phone number's on the screen. Focus Incorporated, Subprime Leads, Subprime Coaching, in-house BDC, anything you need in the subprime field. They've got a whole menu of items. Give Raul Vasquez a call. His number's on the screen right now. That'll ring directly to his cell phone, or get on the website at subprimetime.com and learn how you can increase your dealership's profits and save profits that are being lost. Anything else?
No, I mean, the only thing you didn't mention on that little thing, but aside from that, I mean, you covered all the ground. I mean, it's the creative is then the process, and the delivery of leads and delivery customers.
Fantastic. Wave goodbye to the people.